I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Tuesday morning, November 23rd. Quite a chilly morning here in the Mid-Atlantic region and in much of the eastern part of the nation. A cold front cleared the eastern seaboard early yesterday, paved the way for this cold air mass. Another strong cold front arrives in the eastern part of the nation Thursday night, Friday morning time frame, and that will usher in yet another cold air mass for the end of the work week and the first part of the upcoming weekend. There will be kind of a reinforcing shot of cold air that then drops south to the south and east from Canada for the early part of next week, and that'll come associated with an upper level disturbance that still has to be monitored. It has a chance of slowing down a little bit as it reaches the mid-Atlantic coastline. Could form a low pressure system that has a chance of throwing back some snow into the mid-Atlantic region early next week. We're talking Sunday, Monday, Tuesday time frame. Still several days away, but something to watch out for. Yesterday, we talked about the Madden-Julian oscillation and the signals that it is sending for some more cold air outbreaks in the month of December. Another thing was certainly going to stay focused on over the next several days and weeks: stratospheric warming. Possibility of a stratospheric warming event that often occurs during the winter season, and if in fact there is a stratospheric warming event centered near or over the North Pole, that could ultimately lead to some cold air outbreaks, making it all the way down from the higher latitudes into the middle latitudes, maybe 3, 4, 5 weeks after the event. This is a long-range forecast map from the GFS for about the beginning of the second week of December 8th or so time frame, and it just points out possibility. There's certainly some signals now starting to increase in computer forecast models, not just the GFS, but the Euro model has it as well. This is definitely a sign of a stratospheric warming event, an increasing area of coverage of above normal temperatures way up at the stratospheric level of 10 millibars, North Pole centered right here. This is kind of a top-down view of the North Pole region, the U.S. right in this region. And typically you have lower temperatures, a polar vortex sitting at or near the North Pole, but occasionally it gets displaced by warmer temperatures, and that in fact this appears to be extending in this direction as time goes on here, and this warming could end up right near the North Pole in about 2 weeks or so, and something to watch out for. It could lead to more cold air outbreaks later on in the month of December or even going into January. So the MJO signaling some more possible cold air outbreaks in the month of December, and the stratospheric warming possibilities also may do the same, indicate some more cold air outbreaks for the middle latitudes later on in December, perhaps even going into the month of January. Something we'll watch out for over the next couple of weeks. Well, let's walk through the computer forecast model of the GFS, NOAA's GFS model from 0Z last night. We'll look at the 850 millibar temperature anomalies going forward for the next several days, then the 500 millibar temperature anomalies, and then the surface maps. Again, much colder than normal conditions in much of the eastern third of the nation following yesterday morning's cold frontal passage, and it stays cold into tonight and on Wednesday as well. In fact, late night temperatures later on tonight into the early morning hours of Wednesday liable to be the lowest reading so far this season in many spots along the I-95 corridor. For example, the suburbs north and west of D.C., Philadelphia, New York City certainly should drop into the mid-20s in some cases, which would be the coldest temperature so far in many spots. So something to watch out for late tonight, early tomorrow, the lowest temperatures of the season so far. Now let's move forward here. Stays cold on Wednesday, but not as windy as it will be today. Then we have kind of a brief warm-up just in time for Thanksgiving Day. This is Thanksgiving Day morning, Thursday morning, above normal readings, at least at the 850 millibar level in the northeast U.S. It won't be warm, but it'll certainly be a little bit milder than it will be on Wednesday or today. We have high temperatures confined to the 40s today and tomorrow afternoon. In places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, probably the 50s on Turkey Day. But then, looking upstream, we have another cold air mass. It arrives by Friday morning. Friday should turn out to be another cold, windy type of day, much like what we experienced yesterday and again today. Cold air mass. And then as we go through the upcoming weekend, it tends to stick around and even kind of a reinforcing shot. He kind of rotates around here. Now, this is all the way into Sunday morning. Still quite a bit of colder than normal air sitting on top of the Mid-Atlantic region. And it's at this time that some upper level features, disturbances start to drop south and east from this part of Canada across the Great Lakes and into the Mid-Atlantic region. And we'll have to monitor that threat. Let's take a look at the 500 millibar level right now. And here we go, starting off today with some instability overhead in the northeastern part of the nation. Could be some isolated snow showers associated with that instability. And then Wednesday, a nice day for travel. This is a travel day here. Kind of a ridge popping up across the Tennessee Valley, and certainly dry conditions in the eastern part of the nation. Still colder than normal, but less harsh than today because the winds will be substantially lower than today. And then we look upstream, and here we go. We have the next wave coming associated with that next cold frontal system. That blasts on through by Friday morning. Friday itself, a shopping day for many, turns out to be windy and cold. And then we start to look to the north and west, and there's a lot of disturbance activity, upper level features here that will drop south and east, and it largely depends on exactly how far to the south and east they dig as to whether or not we have a chance for some decent snow in the Mid-Atlantic region sometime early next week, anytime really, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday time frame. Here, for example, is one such disturbance on Monday morning. If it manages to drive a little bit farther to the south and east, maybe into the Carolinas, which is still on the table this far ahead, it could, in fact, result in a low-pressure area off the Mid-Atlantic coastline. Again, there's a chance for some snow during the early part of next week. Well, let's wrap up with the surface forecast maps from the 0Z run of the operation with GFS. Cold, windy day in the Mid-Atlantic region. Winds out of the northwest, gusting up to 25, 35 miles per hour or so during the midday and afternoon hours. And then overnight tonight, the winds start to die down as this high-pressure system moves overhead by tomorrow morning, sitting on top of the Mid-Atlantic region. And again, this presents the likelihood for some very good radiational cooling in the overnight hours, clear skies. Temperatures should drop to the lowest level so far this season in many spots across the I-95 corridor region from D.C. to Philadelphia to New York City. Even in the big cities, should drop down into the 20s. In the suburbs to the north and west of Philly, for example, low to mid-20s late tonight, early tomorrow, the lowest level so far this season. Look on the backside of this high-pressure system by tomorrow. A substantial area with southwest winds blowing right up towards the Great Lakes, and that will be associated with the milder conditions that work their way right into the Mid-Atlantic region on Thursday. Not a warm day, but certainly milder than it will be today or tomorrow, with high temperatures back up in the 50s for Thanksgiving afternoon in D.C., Philadelphia, New York City. But right behind it, upstream, another cold frontal system could produce a few showers later Thursday night into Friday morning. Not a heavy rain event, but it's been kind of dry lately in terms of precipitation amounts. And then that blasts on through. Here's the Friday morning forecast map. Cold front at this time right near the east coast, and it turns out to be a windy and cold day in the Mid-Atlantic, in the eastern Great Lakes, the northeast U.S., maybe some isolated snow showers, strong northwest wind gusts. And then it stays cold going into the upcoming weekend, and we'll watch as these series of disturbances drop to the south and east. There's one right here into the Sunday night time frame. We'll see what happens. Kind of moisture starved, but again, there's a possibility it becomes a little bit stronger than indicated right now, and low pressure could form near the eastern seaboard, the Mid-Atlantic coastline early next week. It's something we'll have to watch out for over the next few days, the possibility of something forming off the Mid-Atlantic coastline. This is going all the way now into the Tuesday night time frame. Yet another disturbance here, dropping into some pretty cold air during the early part of next week. So still a lot of cold air outbreaks on the horizon, not only through the rest of November, but given the fact that the MJO is shifting into what are typically colder phases in the month of December, and the possibility of a stratospheric warming event during the first half of December. We have some cold air outbreaks likely as well into the central and eastern U.S. during the month of December, perhaps even into January as well. That's it for now. I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.